defines vision first as the faculty or state of being able to see. And we all know that 20/20 vision is what is rated the perfect vision for our physical eyes. But for this year of 2020, let's expand that a little bit. And perfect vision being more than just what we can see with our physical eyes without glasses or contacts or binoculars or telescopes or something. But perfect vision being how we see things, and there's a story you may have heard, I know I'd heard it before, about two travelers going down the road a long time ago, and there's one traveler going down the road, and he walks by farm land, and this farmer is out there by the side of the road working in the farm and doing things, and the traveler stops and yells at him and says, "Can you tell me what the people are like in the village up ahead?" And he said, well, he answered that question with a question and said, well, what were they like in the village where you came from? He said, oh, they were a sorry lot. They were troublemakers. You couldn't trust them. They were always lying and cheating, and I'm just so glad to get away from those scoundrels. And he said, well, I'm afraid that you'll find the same kind of people in the village ahead. And so he kind of disappointedly walked on and trudged on, and the farmer went back to his work. And later that day, from the same direction, came a second traveler. And the farmer did the same thing when the traveler asked him, can you tell me what the people are like in the village ahead? And the farmer said, well, what were they like in the village where you came from? He said, oh, they were the most wonderful people. They were trustworthy and hardworking, and they'd do anything for you, and I just feel so sad that I had to leave them. And he says, well, fear not. The people ahead are just like that, and I think you'll really like them. So you can just see these two travelers saw the world and saw people very differently, and thus they had very different experiences of life. So it's all in how we look at it and see with our inner vision. And people who look on the bright side, which I like to say I do, and are optimists and sometimes say, oh, they're wearing rose-colored glasses. Well, these kind of people see the good in people and situations. They behold the Christ consciousness in the world. And then that's what they attract and find. And then people who have a negative or a gloomy outlook on life, which all of us do sometimes, right? Then they attract people that match what they're expecting. And so we get what we expect. And we can see the world, we all see the world through a lens. And I've learned, and I know you've learned, that we can change that lens. We first look through the default lens of our belief system, of our past conditioning. And then if that doesn't work so well, we're not feeling so good and things aren't working out like we want at all, then we remember, oh yeah, I can change that lens. I can change that lens and look at things differently. And I kind of like to look at the world through my love lenses. That makes me happy and brings happy things into my life. Or I might like to look at the world through my light lenses. Starry-eyed. And I can change those, I can change those if things aren't working for me. Dictionary has a second definition for vision, and that is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination and wisdom. And I always love all the quotes about imagination from Einstein. One of the most common ones that I remember is, imagination is more important than knowledge. So Jonathan Swift, an Anglo-Irish author who lived in the 1700s, said, vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. And that reminds me of a quote I've shared with you before by an unknown author. Only those who can see the invisible can do the impossible. Only those who can see the invisible can do the impossible. So what are some of the benefits of being a visionary or having a vision? Visions bring you passion. They ignite your passion. When we know why we're here, when we love what we're doing, we come alive. We are energized. We're excited. And when we can see in our mind's eye and in our heart our destiny before us and we can feel it in our heart, then that ignites our passion. That excites us. And we then live and dream about realizing our vision. And everything becomes a part of our journey. Everything becomes a part of that. And our vibration raises and starts to attract to us, like we're a magnet, all manner of ideas, people, resources to assist us in bringing that bringing that vision into reality. Bringing that vision to reality. And it reminds me of what Charles Fillmore said, and I have this little thing on my desk, and it's in his handwriting, a photocopy of his handwriting. It says, "I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm to spring forth with a mighty faith to do what ought to be done by me." And I want to thank someone here today for modeling springing forth with zeal and enthusiasm, and that would be Albert. Coming into this room today, and then coming back into this room, and then springing forth to each person with great zeal and enthusiasm. And did you notice how people reacted to that? Brings that out in other people, right? So I love that. I love that. I love that. But when you live in thankful anticipation of your future as you're envisioning it, my words are today. It's all right. Feeling how you know you would feel when it's here. Feeling now how you know you feel when it's here. And taking any inspired action that you're guided to take toward realizing it, then that causes everything else around you to vibrate with the energy of your vision to assist you in bringing it to manifestation. It goes viral. I love it. Okay, we said a vision gives us passion. Second, a vision inspires us. It inspires us. As our consciousness continues to raise, as we're growing in our spiritual enhancement, we come to the realization that we no longer have to try, to struggle, to effort, to make things happen like we thought we used to, and like we sometimes still do. We don't have to do that anymore. What we do is to hold our vision in our mind and in our heart, and then we feel from our heart that feeling of how excited it is to have it manifest, and we feel gratitude and joy right now in advance for it. And all that matches our vibrational frequency to it. We're a match in our vibrational frequency. And like Charles Fillmore, then we're ready, and we're ready to spring forth with zeal and enthusiasm and a mighty faith to do what we're being guided and inspired to do. Wow, I love it. Third thing a vision does is it forms our priorities. It leads us to prioritize our values, our God-given gifts, our talents, so we can put them all together in such a way that we create this wonderful path and journey and vision that again excites and delights us. And then the fourth thing a vision does is give us purpose. It becomes our purpose in life, our vision. And we can have our grand vision, we can have our, little visions for daily moments, all kinds of sizes, or if you want to say it that way, of visions. I developed my core vision a number of years ago. I don't remember how long ago. And it is, I am continually awakening to my true self, with capital T, capital S, and joyfully and peacefully living from that beingness. Now you might say, well, that's kind of general and vague and broad. And yeah, you could say that. But I have learned from my experience, more years than most of you here, that doesn't mean anything. Sometimes I feel like I'm a slow learner, but from my experience over the years, I've learned that when I get too specific with many of us have been taught, right, get specific with your goals. Describe them real clearly so the God, universe, whoever knows what you want, doesn't get it wrong. So be specific. And you can. I find when I'm too specific that I'm limiting myself from my field of known possibilities. And I can imagine beyond those, and I usually do. But I also find if I tack the words on, if I put out what I want, affirm it, and tack the words on, and even better, or even better than I can now imagine, or even better than I can now imagine, things that come to me just surprise and delight me. And so I can assure you that that works. And you can get a little broad and general at times, because trusting God to know what you want. And I also find that when I appreciate things, like I got up early this morning just before dawn and stepped out on the back porch over a lake where I was house sitting. It wasn't in my tiny home. But it was so beautiful that you could just see the silhouettes of the trees in the sky. It wasn't quite light yet. And the birds were already singing, and the smell of the crisp, cold air. It was kind of cold. But I just was so in appreciation of that. But when you're in appreciation of something, what you're telling God, telling Source, telling Divine Energy is, I love this. This feels good to me. I like this. More of this, please. So every time you appreciate God, you're telling God things you like, what you like, and more of that. And I have moved into this year of 2020 with a vision that I started last year, but really making it stronger this year. My vision is I let my life unfold for me, trusting that it is for my highest good. And I've been letting that happen, and it's amazing. But it's in line with the affirmation that I have got a little over 26 years ago on my 50th birthday. And I've told you this before. I got a birthday card with the Louise Hay affirmation saying, I trust the process of life to bring me my highest good. Bring me my highest good. As soon as I read that affirmation, I knew it was true. I didn't live that way yet, but I knew it was true, and I kept living more and more and more like that. And then I read yesterday's daily word. I love that. I love the synchronicity. And the affirmation for yesterday was, my perfect life is unfolding before me. My perfect life is unfolding before me. But I know now that my part is to say thank you for everything that unfolds for me. Everything that unfolds for me. I've learned not to judge by appearances, or at least not to stay in a place of judging by appearances, because sometimes we have that knee-jerk reaction, and our default setting comes up, old one that we thought we had cleaned out. But things in the world that might not feel good, like violence, hatred, abuse, shootings, lying, cheating, war, bullying, all those things are my cue to set forth, and I speak them aloud if no one's around. I guess I could speak them aloud if people are around, but usually don't. I speak them aloud in my home, and I'm alone a lot there, with a visionary blessing of what I'd like to see instead of that. Like I might say, may all people live in peace and harmony. May all people learn to love themselves so they can truly love others. May all people be kind to each other and to all of God's creatures and to our planet. May all people learn to love and honor and appreciate our planet Earth, Mother Nature, and her many gifts, and be kind. May all people who are abused be freed and feel loved. May all abusers be filled with love and light. Things like that. So when you watch the news and it doesn't feel so good, it's your cue to put your visionary blessings out there to the TV set, to the media, to the world, to whoever is around you, to yourself, to yourself. And every time we put that energy out there, it makes a difference. It makes a big difference. And a longtime dear friend of mine who actually just moved into the tiny home community, which makes 4 Unity people now in our tiny home community. But she moved in New Year's Eve and celebrated the new year there. She recently published her first book. Her name is Melody Scout, and the book here is Soul of the Seasons, with a subtitle, Creating Balance, Resilience, and Connection by Tapping the Wisdom of the Natural World. somewhere I lost my stars, but they'll come back. I can still see with light. But I wanted, in one of her chapters, she speaks about vision, and I chose a few excerpts to read to you, just brief ones. She says, it's defined in the 5-element theory described in the I Ching. Vision is the capacity to see with our spiritual eyes as well as our physical eyes. And we've been talking about that. During spring, the season of new beginnings, all living beings reach toward the vision of whom and what they will become. The eyes, the sensory organs of spring, represent the ability to spiritually see the vision of our divine destiny. Just as the tiny acorn has the vision of the mighty oak within it, so do we, each of us, contain a plan, a blueprint designed to carry us through all of life's passages. We are created with all of the elements necessary to become the vision God had in mind for us, and with the means to carry out the vision. Our clarity of vision can direct our actions to support us in carrying out our divine destiny. From the acorn, we can learn to trust in our divine destiny, God's plan for us, and the ability to carry out that plan. Our physical eyes allow us to see both the beauty in the present moment and any potential bumps in the road ahead. Likewise, our spiritual eyes help us hold the vision of our God-given purpose and spot potential problems on the horizon. So I loved how all that fit in. And you know, I like to look up what Charles Fillmore says in the Revealing Word. So I looked up what he said about vision, and he defines spiritual vision as seeing God as the foundation of all, the source of all, and the substance of all. Seeing the good, the true, and the beautiful everywhere. In this manner is the eye single and a vision perfected. And Unity has a spiritual toolkit, and in that spiritual toolkit, one of the tools is visioning. And we pretty much know what it is, right? Visioning is making a mental picture. It's a mental process in which you allow yourself to not only see, but also hear and feel and touch, maybe even smell through your imagination, whatever you're visioning, whatever you're wanting. And whether you're picturing how you want your day to go, or whether you're imagining your ideal vacation, whatever, you're using visioning. And there's 2 parts to that: positive imagining and intention for your visioning. And it's similar to the process of cutting out pictures and words and putting them on a poster, which most people nowadays call vision boards. But I remember my grandma giving me a little booklet published by Unity when I was little called Treasure Mapping, and how to make a treasure map, which now today so many people call vision boards. But that just helps us, a fun way to let the child within us, the kid within us, come out and play and make that vision board, and then have beautiful pictures that feel good to us to help us keep focused on and feel our vision that we're in the process of creating. And there are a lot of techniques for visioning, but all you need to do is just trust that you will be guided by your inner being to the perfect technique for you, or that you'll be guided to create the perfect technique for you, even better yet. And Unity's 2020 theme of perfect vision, seeing through a spiritual lens, reminds us of our power to choose from infinite possibilities. And each month for 2020, Unity has a sub-theme under that umbrella vision theme. And the one for this month, the word is mystery. And the affirmation is, I allow space for the unknown and the unknowable. And what is the mystery and the unknown and the unknowable but God? So nothing to be afraid of. It's all God. I love what Wayne Dyer says in his book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, about this. He says, let the world unfold without always attempting to figure it all out. Don't try so hard to make something work. Simply allow. When expectations are shattered, practice allowing that to be the way it is. Relax, let go. Our message today for Daily Word, right? Relax and rest. Relax, let go. Allow and recognize that some of your desires are about how you think it should be, rather than how it is in the moment. Become an astute observer. Judge less, listen more. Take time to open your mind to the fascinating mystery and uncertainty that we all experience. And we're really in it now, aren't we? A lot of uncertainty, a lot of mystery, but it's all God in transforming whatever's going on to a much higher level. And we're going to see a lot of it in this new year. I think that's one of the reasons I'm feeling so excited. So excited. Fred Allen Wolf in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know said, the real trick to life is not to be in the know, but to be in the mystery. Not to be in the know, but to be in the mystery. And I can tell you that learning to live comfortably in the mystery is a good skill to develop. You're going to have wonderful, wonderful results. I'm thankful to one of my teachers, longtime teachers, Kelly Powers, for teaching me years ago to learn to love living in the mystery. Beyond just being comfortable, but to love it. And I am very grateful that I did learn that. And I love living in the mystery. It's exciting to me. It's almost like Christmas. You know, everything's wrapped up and you don't know what it's in. It's all a mystery, but you know it's going to be good. So learn to love living in the mystery. I want to close with visionary blessings for 2020 shared by Emmanuel Dogger, who's a physical teacher. And I think I posted him on the Unity of Albany Facebook page. If I didn't, I will. But here's his blessings. May we all be open and ready to anchor a new world that honors, loves, and supports every living being. May we allow peace, love, and compassion to be the default setting of our heart, so that all choices we make come from that space. May we all prosper and never want for anything, because we already feel so nourished and pampered and cared for by the universe. And may our beautiful planet and all her citizens be restored back to their most pristine states of health and well-being, so that heaven can be fully realized in all of our present reality. We are so grateful for knowing this is now available to all of us, and we choose it now. This or something greater. And so it is.